Hey, quick check-in with chapters 11 to 15 of Cousin Henry, where Isabel is resolute in not wanting to accept any money from Cousin Henry, even though he's been kind of pressured, kind of socially, that he should really do this. Um, her father and her stepmother, evil stepmother, who really doesn't want her around in the house and doesn't want her draining the family coffers, is just like, you need to take this money. This money is legally, morally yours. We all, it's actually it's in the will, and Henry is actually like willing to do it, so why not take it? And when pressed on it, she says, it's like, he's odious to me. He is completely odious to me. And when she actually talks to the curate that she is actually has feelings for, and does admit, I do love, um, she's like, she confesses to him, he knows something about the other will. There is another will, and he's done something with it. And thus I find him really odious, like all that's kind of sweating and nervousness, like whether she was trying to incline to try and give him the benefit of the doubt. By now it's just like she knows that he's scuzz, and so she won't take his money. And it's not really in hopes that she's going to gain the whole estate. It's just that she finds him reprehensible. Meanwhile, he is slowly melting down. It's like, everybody, it's basically open talk that he is, to the point where indeed there's a local newspaper which is basically publishing what are, you know, slanderous things. It's like, about him, asking multiple questions, basically implying, stating almost baldly, that he's rooked Isabel out of Uncle Ifler's estate. And it gets to the point where, the well, first there's a local farmer who sort of has pity on him, because he is a pitiful fellow, and says, like, you need to kind of like stand up for yourself. You need to do it. And it's like, but by the end of the meeting, he is so kind of weaselly that she basically, the farmer's like, well, if he actually kind of felt like maybe he didn't do it before, by the end of the thing, he's like, no, there's something rotten about this guy. And indeed, the lawyer, Uncle Ifler's old lawyer, who says, like, look, you don't have a lawyer, so it's incumbent on me as kind of a lawyer for this estate to go to you and say, like, you have to bring a action of slander against the newspaper, and answer these charges, basically, of like, be, you know, be cross-examined in a court of law and state unequivocally, I don't know anything about another thing. And he's like, I don't want to. And he finally kind of gets browbeaten to the point where it's like, okay, in a month's time, that's what's going to happen. But it's like, he's walking on the estate, he's looking at the rocks thinking, oh, I could throw myself into the sea or whatever. But he doesn't really even have the strength of character for that. And he just wants to escape this all. One of the farmers, the younger son of the farmer, who witnessed the other one, comes upon him and says, like, get off our land. It's like, this is my estate. Yeah, well, we pay rent on this part of it. We don't want you here. Get off it, or I'm going to thrash you. And really has a set too, and it's like, basically says, like, you're a thieving bastard. Um, and he goes back to that, Griffith, the sympathetic farmer, and he was going to just sort of say, I found the the will, the most recent will. But he starts going in about how this young buck, was rude to him, and now he can't get himself to actually say about the thing. So he says, well, come to me tomorrow or whatever, and I'll talk. I'll show it to you. But by the time we get to there, he's kind of looked at the contract. He just reads it all, And it's like he gets that kind of like, oh, this could all be mine as long as I just brazen it out, as long as I can, as long as I can just sort of sit there and just sort of be cool about it. Which, of course, he can think about that when he's consumed in his greed, but I don't think that's going to happen in a court of law. And I think that's about where we end that chapter. So it's like it's Henry is a really good is just like he's stewing in his own kind of stuff of like he's not he's dastardly enough that he's hidden. He basically he picked it up and he put it back in the bookshelf, and he didn't say anything about it. So he's good as done this stuff, but he's a very passive villain, but he's also one that's just like he's got enough kind of he's got just enough morals that it's torturing him and he can't pull it off and he can't really answer properly the charges. Whereas someone who was maybe a little bit more bold faced could have just brazened it out and just gone, oh, I wonder where it is. Well, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about it, and brazened it out. But no, he can't. So it's great torture with him. Whereas Isabel is just definitely just, um, too kind of upright. Is this upright female trollop heroine? Um, you know, I'm and he's actually offered to go and for her to come and take the estate, but it's like I can't take this estate. I don't have any money to take this estate, and I'm not taking her money, so she's sort of screwed. And she's like, I'm basically gonna have to make my own living. Still doesn't feel like she can hook up with the curate. I'm trying to remember what the hell her reasoning is behind that, but basically she feels like her only thing is to become a governess or a washerwoman or something like that, which is like the father's like, you're not doing that either. Like, I'm not. You should take the money and not be a burden on me, but you're not going to become a governess because that would probably be too much of that would be a shame in his thing there. So yeah, yeah, it's going along. I'm enjoying it. It's a very short novel though. My God, I think it's like a novella. Well, I think it's 326 pages. I think or something like that on Goodreads, which, yeah, for Trollope is like a third of a novel. So I guess it's not surprising. All right, that's the check-in with that, and we'll go on to other things. Shame that I still haven't heard. We haven't heard really from Steve about if he's doing any more Trollops this year. He seems to have taken more of a hiatus than I thought. He was just taking one for a month, but he hasn't mentioned anything, and he hasn't seemed to really answered any other people's questions about it. So, obviously, I've just gone on with my own Trollope because I enjoy my Trollope. So, yeah, we'll continue along. More videos later.